All right, guys, today I'm going to break down all the different components of a fence, the footings, the posts, the rails, the pickets, the fasteners, and the stain, and give you my thoughts on each, as well as a few different common ways of doing each and some of the benefits and drawbacks of each. So go ahead, hit the like button, and let's get into it, starting with the footings. So your fence post will extend into the ground a certain distance. The deeper, the better. 20 to 24 is usually pretty good for a fence that stands 6 foot tall above the ground. Underground, however, you'll rarely find them just packed into dirt. That's weak, that's unacceptable. Typically, you'll see concrete footings or you'll see post foam footings. I've got a video that I'll put a card up here where I do a stress test of the two so you can really see how they hold up. I prefer to go concrete unless it's a very small fence run or a short fence or one that's not going to be subject to a lot of wind. Also, if you're planning to straighten a post and you just want a quick solution to keep it straight for maybe another 6 months until you replace the post, foam can be a good option there. But for strength and longevity, usually fast set concrete is going to be the best. You want it about 2 feet deep, 20 to 24 inches. Next up are the posts themselves. These are steel 2 and 3/8 inch posts with Simpson PGT2R brackets on them to affix the post to the rail. You'll see post steel a lot of the times in the south. In the north, you'll see more 4 inch by 4 inch square wood posts, which can either be pressure treated pine, prone to warpage, or cedar, which is really beautiful, stains up to match, not all that warp prone, but rather costly. This post, as well as the cap and all three brackets combined, cost about $35 with taxes. I like to go steel posts as often as possible. They hold up better to landscapers with their weed eaters chopping the base. They hold up better to being saturated with moisture and drying out over time repeatedly through the seasons. I just think steel posts are really the way to go, and they're not exactly outrageous expensive. So that's the post. If you've enjoyed this video so far, consider subscribing to the channel. Totally free, just like following somebody on Facebook, and it means the world to me and the channel. This isn't a dead channel. I put out new content all the time. So let's move on to the rails. The rails, or as a lot of homeowners call them, the runners or the cross boards, are these horizontal boards that the pickets themselves will affix to. You'll often see rails be 2 by 3 inch boards, where these are thicker 2 by 4 inch boards. I always prefer 2 by 4s. If you're going to get fence estimates or do it yourself, you'll be glad you did 3 years from now. 2 by 3s are prone to that droopage between every post. It's not a good look. I've gone wide angle for this to show you that this bottom rail also serves as what's called a kick plate or a rot board. It's 2 by 10, so it's about 8.5 inches tall, and it allows the pickets on the other side, instead of sitting on the ground, they sit up here, which has a twofold benefit. One, that makes these 6 foot pickets into probably a 6'5", 6'6" tall fence for a bit more privacy. And it also keeps the pickets and their end grains, which wick up more moisture, keeps them up off the ground. So that if there's ever a big rainstorm, water doesn't as quickly soak up into the pickets. You're hitting the side grain of this big pressure treated ground contact 2 by 10. I just think these kickboards are a really strong way to do it. So again, avoid 2 by 3 rails. I also like to typically avoid cedar rails. They provide a little extra benefit, but they cost 10 times as much as a pine rail. And if you plan to stain the fence, you'll be the only one who ever knows or who can ever notice. So next step, we'll move on to the pickets. The pickets are 90% of what people see about the fence. They're the vertical members here that homeowners will often refer to as uprights or slats. These are the fence pickets. These specifically happen to be 6 inch wide, 6 foot tall, pressure treated pine with the dog ear cuts at the top, which are designed to help splitting of the board. As you can see sitting out in the sun, a few of these do have splits, but the split is above and between the two screws that sink into the back. Pickets come in 8 foot tall, 6 foot tall. They come in 6 inch wide, 4 inch wide, and 3.5 inch wide. They're the character of the fence. They're what 90% of the fence is visually. When you stain the fence, 90% of what gets stained is the pickets. So it's important to choose. I think pressure treated pine for a quick fence that's supposed to do the job is a really good choice. It can be stained once it's dried out like this, but it doesn't ever need stain for protection the way that other woods will. Cedar obviously is a lot prettier. It's got smoother grains. It'll have less of these knots in it. It'll soak up stain more richly and deeply and more uniformly, but pressure treated pine is a good choice. I've also made a video comparing the different pickets, and that will be this video card here. To me, this is the most important part of a fence. the fasteners used. These happen to be zinc coated outdoor deck screws, 1 inch and 5/8 long. I find screws are an absolute no-brainer. Again, a lot of fence guys are going to have a really good sales pitch about how nails are just as good. They're not. I mean, they rip off. They're just a pivot point. They're not securing anything. They're just tacking it together, especially on gates. You always just want to go screws. There's really not much more to say there. Don't build a fence with nails. Don't hire anyone who's planning to tack it together with a nail gun, collect the check, and leave you with a piece of crap fence. Always go screws. You definitely want them outdoor screws. If you have just drywall screws laying around and they're not meant to be outdoors, you'll think they're fine. And then after a couple rains, you'll see they're starting to leave trails of rust down your fence picket, which are nearly impossible to get out. So just make sure you use a good outdoor rated deck screw. I like to do 2 per picket at each rail intersection. So 2, 2, 2 at the bottom. Even on 4-inch wide pickets, I still like to do 6 total screws. You'll see some guys that'll go like on a 4-inch wide picket, 1, 1, 1. I just don't think that's a very ethical way to do it. So that's the fasteners. Again, go ahead, like the video. If you've got any questions, I'll reply to every comment. Drop a comment below. Consider subscribing to the channel if you've got a fence on your property. I'm putting out videos all the time that'll give you tips and tricks and take a lot of the mystery out of, one of the bigger expenses that homeowners usually have. The final element of a fence is what stain you put on it. They come in transparent, penetrating stains, semi-solid, also known as semi-transparent, and solid stains. This is a complex topic that requires its own video. Luckily, I've made that video. It's one of my most popular and successful videos. I'll put a card up here. Thank you for your time watching this video, hanging out with me. I hope I've taken some of the mystery out of it. I hope if you're planning to build a fence or hire a fence contractor, you can now do so from a more educated standpoint. And if you've got any questions or suggestions for additional videos I should make, leave them in the comments. I read every comment. I reply to every comment. So throw me a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on the next one.